This is me about a week ago. Tired, exhausted, beat to hell. Doing my normal restoration work and then coming home to this mess every day wore me down fast. But it paid off in the end. This wasn't simply a case of slapping a coat of paint on the walls and moving on to the next room. To really restore this room, I had to first expose the plaster underneath. Every bit of white spackling was hiding damaged plaster. So, I began by pulling down the paint. Most of it flaked off quite easily, but some of it required an extremely powerful homemade paint stripper. For over 100 years, the plaster in this room has taken a beating. The corner around the chimney was all but shattered. Conserving it would take a very delicate touch. Now you may ask, why go through all this trouble? Why not just gut it all out and hang drywall like most people do these days? Well, there are three reasons. First, plaster is and always will be a superior product to sheetrock. Two, this room was where my grandfather was born in 1939, and it's also where my great-great-grandparents died. So restoring this room to its original appearance was extremely important. These walls had the same minor problems most historic walls have: cracks, broken lath, and a sagging ceiling. I resolved each problem very carefully. First of all, we took out the screws that were holding up the plaster temporarily. Now, to learn more about plaster and other historical tutorials, be sure to check out my secondary channel. The link is in the description below. Wherever the plaster was loose, I made small holes that would actually create new keys when they were filled. Most of the old plaster was crushed, screened, and incorporated into the wall. For those areas that had lost plaster decades ago, we went to the same sandbank where the original sand was found and brought it up. My 11-year-old carried it up to the house because he needed to exercise, and it'll make a good story to tell his grandchildren someday. Plaster is just sand, lime, and air. Pretty simple stuff. After it's mixed, it's pressed into the lath. Our goal was to match the original texture as closely as possible. The lath was a bit further apart than it could have been, leading to some waste, but it eventually cured and formed solid keys. Ironically, the actual plaster work took less than 8 hours. Stripping the paint and then cleaning up took much longer. A quick skim coat of pure lime putty gave us a perfect finish. It was wet down a few days after it was applied and polished to a glass-like surface. The smaller cracks gradually disappeared as we came to the end of the wall restoration. After it was all painted, I was pretty happy with the results. While it is presentable, this room still needs a second coat of paint, needs some window restoration, and floor refinishing. But doing these after the kitchen is finished makes a lot more sense to us. We're going to leave off on this room, and let me show you what we've got going on in the kitchen.